Okay, now we're going to practice the replicate command, and replicate is really a nice feature. And there's, like fill it, there's two ways to do it. So I'm going to show you both ways, and then there are two types of replicate. There's a linear replicate, which is used to replicate things in a line, and then there is a radial replicate or a circular replicate that is used to replicate things in a circle. So we're going to practice on both of them. For the linear replicate, I want to go back to our earlier example of our Lego-esque item here that we have shelled, right? We've done the shell operation on this. And now what I want to do is I'm going to add some of those nubs to the top. Those nubs are just circles, right? The nubs on the Lego are just circles that have been extruded up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by sketching. And I'm going to change this, so I'm looking at it dead on. So I'm sketching on this top surface. I'm going to make a single circle. And let me put it down kind of in this corner. All right. So let's say this is my first Lego nub. There I am. It would be nice if I didn't have to go through and measure out and draw where I wanted each and every nub, right? That could get quite tedious. So I'm going to use something called linear sketch pattern. This is a function in Sketch, and then we're going to do it again. We're going to do this same command again, but replicating the feature itself. So, but first we'll do it in Sketch. So when you hit linear sketch pattern, the first thing that it wants to know is entities to pattern, and that's this guy, right? And then how do you want to pattern it? Well, in this case, I'm actually going to use two directions because I want nubs going this way and I want nubs going this way. So I want kind of an array of nubs when I'm done. So you can control things like the spacing, right? So you can, how far between, right? And then I can control how many replicates I want. All right, so let's say we're doing that. I've selected the x-axis. Now I'm going to select the y-axis, right? And here I want a replicate. Notice it's going in the wrong way the first time. So I'm going to flip the direction. And the spacing should be uniform, right? So let me dial this up to 0.3. Okay, that is obviously not the correct spacing and everything for a Lego, but it's not bad. It's illustrating my point. So what I have at this point, right, are each of these items sketched. Okay, and the beautiful thing about this is if I didn't like the size, right, if I didn't like the size of this, the diameter here, I could go and change it, right? So I could say, oh, okay, maybe I want 0.15, and it's going to change all of them at once. So whatever I do to that original piece, it's gonna replicate it all the way across. I kind of like that 0.15, so I'm going to stick with that. All right. So it allows you to control all of these at once. You don't have to go back and edit. It ensures that you're going to get equal spacing. Okay. So if I exit the sketch and then I'm going to extrude. Right. There we go. We got a whole bunch of nubs. Okay. So that's one way to do it. I want to show you another way. So I'm going to delete this whole command. And actually, before I do that, I wanted one little trick. So you'll notice if I hover over this line, this little hand comes up. That allows me to backtrack. Okay, so it doesn't delete this command, but it shows me what my part looked like before I did that other thing. That can be a very powerful thing sometimes as we get more and more complex parts that have a lot of functions. So anyway, fun little aside there. Okay, so I'm going to delete this whole thing, and I want to show you a different way to do this same command. Yes, I want it all gone. Okay. So I'm going to actually go back into this sketch, and I'm going to get rid of all of the replicates. Thought it was going to take them all out for me, but it's not. Okay, so I have a single circle, 0.15 diameter. I'm going to get out of the sketch, and I'm going to extrude that. Okay. Got one nub here. So I can also do this linear pattern on features, on 3D features. I don't just have to do it in the sketch. So I'm going to go linear pattern. It knows that I want this feature to be replicated. and it asks me to select direction. So here's my first direction in X. I want 4 replicates, 5 replicates, and then here's my second direction. I'm going to pick this guy. Okay, I want just 2 replicates, and I want to flip the direction, and I want the spacing to be 0.3. So here you get the same effect, folks, right? Same effect, but we did the operation, we made a single item on the sketch and then replicated it in 3D using the feature replication. Okay, so two ways to skin this cat, okay? All right, so what we're going to do next, I want to show you real quick the circular replicate. And for that, I'm going to need a different part. So let me just real quick, I'm going to make a simple plate. So I'm going to sketch, I'll sketch on the top face. I'm going to do, let's say, "3" diameter, big circle. And what I want to do with this, right, is I'm gonna basically make a plate that's got some holes in it that follow a circular pattern. This is very common in mechanical engineering. A lot of times you have these adapter plates or flanges that are on items that you need to fit 2 pipes together, and you're going to have plates mating up with plates using a circular pattern. That's called a bolt circle, and we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get into dimensioning, but bolt circles are super common. Okay, so follow along with me for a sec. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a single circle that's going to wind up being my origin for the hole, right? So this is going to be, I'm going to have holes that kind of go around in a circular pattern from here. So let me make this just an even number for you. I'll say it's a 1/4" diameter. Okay, and it is on, the other thing that you tend to do is you say, okay, what is the radius here? So I'll say that's an inch. So this would be a 2" diameter bolt circle, right, on a 3" diameter plate. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to replicate this hole in a circular way. So if I go to the drop down and select circular, it's going to ask me, what do I want to replicate? Okay, it's this guy. And you can see it already figures, hey, look, you know, this is a set distance 1" away from the center of the circle. That's good, okay? So it's kind of smart about, I think you want to make an array of these in a circle about this point. So you can do things like pick how many you want, right? So here I've got now 6 of these holes around that circle, right? And I would click OK. Exit sketch, extrude boss base. And there's a nice adapter plate with some holes in it. This circular feature, folks, you'll also notice that we could do the same thing that we did with the linear pattern on the Lego, right? And you could have a single hole that you then replicate in a circular manner. So this option exists again for radial. All right, so that's the replicate command, folks.